Good afternoon, Sister Rita. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanking God for all of His blessings.
It is so good to finally have an opportunity to talk with you. The purpose of this video is it's a keepsake for you, for your family, and for the church. And I want you to know that I feel honored to be able to talk to someone of your years, for you to be able to share some of the things that you remember when you were much younger. Today's date is September the 7th, 2025, and we are at Whitehall AME Church. What are some of your cherished memories?
I have many, but I'll begin with, I remember my first day coming to school.
Okay.
The school was across from the original church.
Okay.
And we came early, and the teacher had to come on the train. So we were out in the yard playing, and we played. The train might have been on time, but it seemed like it was late because we played a long time before the teacher came down the road. And
You said the original church. Where was the school at?
Across from it. It's kind of diagonally across from.
Are you talking in Whitehall or in Whitehall?
Right here.
Oh, okay, Whitehall. Okay. That building is still there, by the way. That building is still there.
Oh, no. That building, I'm not sure whether it was taken down or burned down. I don't know what happened. It was just like a one-room school.
Okay.
It had an entrance on the right side that used to be the female, and the male came in through another door, but everybody was in the same room.
So you remember going to starting school?
Wow. My first day.
What do you remember? What day that was? What year that was?
Not exactly, because I was running a little bit late. I was about 7. I didn't get in, like you do now on the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether the year had anything to do with it, but because of my birthday, they still do that. Some of us dropped down to the year of your birth,
mm-hmm.
and you couldn't come to school until after that.
Hey, speaking of your birthday, when is your birthday?
January 10th,
Wow.
1926.
1926. Wow. What do you think are some of the qualities of a good relationship?
We're speaking of a good relationship. This is another experience that I considered began for me when I joined the church, because we watched many other candidates that was older than we were,
Okay.
They came, and it just seemed like it was a drastic change and a joyous occasion. And so my sister and I, my first cousin, we decided, we wanted that joy. This was in 1937.
Okay.
And we came to, this may be beyond your time, but they always said you had to have spiritual mothers and fathers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so you probably don't remember her either. Her name was Hannah Middleton. And we came to her, there were the 3 of us at first, and we told her that we desired if she was willing for us to come to be our spiritual mother.
Mm-hmm.
We had to stay at night time.
Yes, ma'am. And a string around your head.
Yeah.
I remember it.
And a day or 2 afterwards, Sister Carter, I don't know if you remember her, Julia Carter used to be. When she passed away, I think she was married to, I can't remember her wedding name, but she was the daughter of Charlie Carter and Sarah.
I've heard those names before. I heard my grandparents spoke of them.
Okay, so she was the fourth person that joined us. And I don't recall which month it was, but anyway, by the October, the third Sunday, they declared us being ready. And then we came, and I had that occasion of coming to the altar, and, you know, after that, I became what they call a full member.
Now, do you remember back during that time that they felt that you were ready because of the type of dreams that you had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you to know that when I came, I kind of failed on that one. I had to go back. I had to go back.
Well, I guess I remember too many things, because I remember when we had the first meeting, they said, this one's okay, this one's okay, this one's okay, but we got to be delayed to try to.
That was me. They had to have another meeting for me to come in. But you mentioned your sisters or your family. Who were your sisters and brothers?
My living sister and brother, so many of them, my mom had passed away every time she had a child, the child would die. So my brother, oldest brother, that lived to be grown was Julian Richard, the oldest brother. My oldest sister was Geneva. And between the ones that, you know, passed away, the sister that came, the two of us, there was, you know, she lost a child there. And then I had that sister and she lost another child, and I became number 7. Okay, right after my mom had me, number 7, she didn't lose one for 3 times. She had 1, 2, 3 boys. Wow. David was next to me. Herman was next to David, and Isaac. Now, perhaps you got to know Herman. And
he lived in Miami?
No, Herman lived in Savannah. Dave moved from Savannah to New York in his later years, because all their children was born in New York. And then Ike is in New York now. He's the only one alive.
Now, I noticed your last name, Richard. My grandmother's father's name was Andrew Richard. Was that a part of the Richard family?
I got that connection in school. Everyone seems like, you know, you and our cousin, but to have had a conversation with somebody who would detail how we were, I didn't know that until, you know, long afterwards, because I was saying, your aunt, Queen Esther, and your father, you were in school during my time, and they had an older sister, Mamie. All of them was like in school during my time. I might have been maybe a little bit below them, because once they reached a certain age, there was a tendency, seemed like everybody would get married.
Okay.
And start having a family. So I was in the school that when it moved from here, and they built a new school on Pines Community Road.
Okay. That's the school that was in the front of St. Mary for decades.
I must have been in 3rd or 4th grade then, because I don't think I spent over 2 years over there. And in 1940, after I had finished at elementary school, then I went to Savannah to live with my relatives.
Okay.
To go to junior high school.
Okay. Now tell me, what do you think are some of the keys to maintaining a strong family relationship?
Well, I want to get back to the Andrew.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Richard.
Your grandfather. Your great-grandmother.
My great-grandfather.
Her name was Sylvia.
Yes.
And she used to visit us a lot. And she lived in Hickory Hill at that time. She had, you know, the Andrew, he must have deceased early
Yeah.
before my time.
Yes.
And then I did not know that my great grandfather relationship with Andrew, but Sister Runitha was telling me that Sammy Richards,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Richards,
Mm-hmm.
and Andrew, they were three brothers.
Yes.
But she couldn't tell me the relationship that it would have been with Harry Richards, number one, and he also was deceased.
Okay.
But that made us under the auspices of the same grandparents.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, like coming forward.
Okay.
Could have been like, you know, brothers, children, or whatever, but I never got that figured out, and I'm still trying. I would possibly have found out if I'd had that kind of discussion with Mr. Gilliard, because I understood that, you know, she knew way beyond my time how we were connected, you know.
And maybe Sister Flood would probably be a person that you would want to talk to. You would want to talk
Yeah,
to.
if she still, you know, has, you know, some history like that, because when we started having our family reunion, we learned a lot of things. But on the other hand, when I was talking about the Sylvia lady, when she used to come from Hickory Hill, every time she would come, back then the traveling was so hard. You either walked unless somebody gave you a wagon ride or something, so you always spend the night. And she spent many nights when she would come, like a rest break or something, before she goes back.
Well,
She
her
was
first
sweet
her,
little
her her first husband died. Her first husband was Andrew Richard.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in later years, she married a person named, the last name was Gilliard.
Yeah.
On her tombstone that is in Pine, her last name is Gilliard.
Yeah, I recall her as being Gilliard when she would come, and the distance was so far, you know, you couldn't make it in one day. You came one day and you spent the night with whoever you're visiting, and then you move on.
Now, what kind of lady was Sylvia Richard or Sylvia Gilliard?
Beautiful lady. She was like a grandmother. My grandmother on my father's side was alive at that time. I'm not sure they were pretty much the same age. But we used to love for her to, you know, stop by, because I knew her better than I did the offspring.
Okay.
Your grandmother, who was also Laura, what was her first name?
Anna Laura Richard Frazier.
Mama said they were best friends when they grew up. And, you know, all of that just drew us even closer and closer, because
Okay.
I think Mama told me that in her wedding she had your great grandma as one of the bridesmaids.
Wow. Okay. And as we move on, tell me some of the biggest changes that you've seen in your lifetime.
Well, one of the biggest changes was when I left Whitehall, go to school in Savannah. It wasn't awkward going to Savannah because my parents, my mother and father had lived there before I, you know, knew myself really now. And the grandparents, my mother's mother and father, we used to visit them frequent, like children from the city come and visit the country grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
We could hardly wait to get to Savannah to visit our grandparents.
Wow.
And my grandmother, she used to always be very, lovable and whatnot, but she would say this to me every time that Mama would take us on the train. By this time, them three boys now kind of dominated me and my sister Carrie, because my brother, Julian, he was like older, and had started going to work, and most of the work he had to stay all the week and come home on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the little job that you could get there. So all I could think of, my grandmother would say, okay, get us off the train, and she'd feed us. And she'd say, "Oh, okay, little lady, it's our time now. We're gonna have to talk." Because she said, "I love to talk to you." You know, she talked to me because I was a talker. She always said, you know, I must have been grown before my time. But it was such a pleasure that she looked forward to that all the time.
Okay.
Nevertheless, she was my mother's mother, and she took sick and passed away in 1937.
Oh, wow.
That was the connection, like I'm saying. My mom was due to deliver my baby sister, and my mom couldn't even come to church when we had our celebration.
Wow.
It was close, but too close. She couldn't make it.
You know, I would really love to continue this interview, but I'm sure that the time is really. But in fact, I would like to continue, even if I need to come to your house and do it. But before we close, I would like for you to tell us first about your children. Tell me about your children.
That's my children.
How you doing?
The one and only.
Okay. Do you have grandchildren?
Yes.
What I would like for you to do at this point is to talk to your grandchildren and to your great-grandchildren. What would you like for your great-grandchildren to know about great-grandmama?
About my great
About you. What would you like for your children, your great-grandchildren to know about you?
Oh, they know quite a bit now because we've had so much of, might I say, connection together. Being a talker, as they often say I was, I say this almost every time we meet, and I say to him too, I said, you need to talk to your children so that your children would be, understanding of who their ancestors were. It wouldn't have been such a hard job, in trying to have a family reunion if more people back then would talk to their children. And they were illiterate, most of them. They didn't, write things down.
But they remembered a lot.
Yeah, that was a good thing. Only if you was bright enough to talk to them, because had I known, some of the things that I would be confronted with later on, I wished I would have known more about my grandparents. And it's not but one great grandmother, and this was the wife of the Harry that I mentioned, that when I got to know who she was very ill, and I remember they were living close to Whitehall. If you remember anything about when the train used to come and stop at the station, they were opposite the houses on the other side of the track where the station manager was and so forth.
Now, look, you mentioned Harry Richard. I know that name.
He is the son of the Harry Richard that would have been my great-grandfather. Harry Richard was my father's father's brother.
Now, this Harry Richard that I know of, he's buried in one of the plantations. Coxfield. I've seen his grave.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was hoping, and during not the last reunion, but one of the family reunions, I was told, I know you know Ruthie, that someone was working on ancestry.
Dr. Etta Black.
And I was hoping that I would have soon heard from Ruthie, because what had happened, Ruthie said she had, she always had to, get reservation to get in there with those people who live there now because they own the property. But they said she had made all the arrangements, and by this time the COVID set in.
Okay.
And that just, almost dismantled that thought, because we haven't had a really successful family reunion since then, and so many have passed away. But I was trying to find out if when she goes in there, like some of the tombstones, and I'm almost sure that first Harry Richards was probably in there.
Okay.
But Harry Richards II, he raised him as a son.
Okay.
And I guess the focus is only on him, but more than likely they had buried him in that same cemetery.
Okay.
I would think.
I saw the grave. My cousin, the grave was open, and so you could see into the grave. And so what my cousin did was, she along with Lloyd Fields, they were able to get some things and seal that grave back up so that it's no longer open. Mm-hmm. What I would like to do is to continue to talk with you, and that means even if I need to come to Savannah to see you, mm-hmm. I know that you all are in a hurry to go back home, and I am really grateful for this opportunity. I would also like to talk with you about, you were mentioned in our phone call that you were active in the lay organization in your area.
I was going to get to that.
Well, if you want to talk about that, how much more time do I have, sir? How much more time do I have? I'm good? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, what did you do in the lay organization? And what church, what district, and what conference did you serve in the lay organization?
I don't remember exactly the year, but maybe you heard this name. Reed Bowles. He has family members, Hamilton.
Yes.
Connected.
Yes. His great granddaughter or great granddaughter is a steward at this church now, I believe.
Okay. He was the secretary in the lay organization at the time.
What organization? Where?
In Savannah.
What's the name of the church?
Flipper Chapel.
Okay. Do you remember what district that was in Savannah?
Some Savannah district, Flipper Chapel was. Savannah
Okay.
district. That's the 6th Episcopal district.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
That's Georgia. Georgia is the 6th Episcopal district.
You're correct. Now tell me, you were secretary at your church or in the district, or where did you serve as secretary?
I'm saying now that because of Reed Bowles, I'm just shortening his name. He worked out of town in Threads. He was a secretary. And he knew from his job he would be gone for months and months and months. Mm-hmm. And just like I said, my grandmother used to tell me when I get that, now we talk, I was not shy to talk to people and to ask questions and stuff. So I visited Flipper Chapel the whole time I was in junior high school. I didn't join it then, but I was living with my relative, and I would go, and they'd let me do Sunday school and whatever else, and they just asked me to do things, and I was just daring enough to do it, because if I made a mistake, it was there to, correct me.
Yes, ma'am.
So Brother Bowles took me to a meeting, and he introduced me to the lay organization, the local lay organization. Flipper Chapel didn't even have a lay organization in their church at that time. Not all the churches had.
And they still don't, but go ahead.
Okay. So when he introduced me, that was the end of the story. They just, almost didn't have to vote, but they did vote. And I started being the secretary because he was on his dredge somewhere working. Mm-hmm. So from that, that's the local lady in Savannah, and was connected with the state in Atlanta. I drifted to the state, and I knew a lot of people. It was a lady that, she was from Charleston, South Carolina, but she was on 6th District at the time. Her name was Kate Brown.
Catherine Brown.
Very popular.
She later became president of the Connection of the organization.
Yeah, she and the one, she was vice president when I was doing all of this. So anyway, from meeting to meeting to meeting, like I said, just about every church on the southeast, I mean, the east side of the globe, you know, they would have these biennial.
Yes, ma'am.
And the first one I went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Do you remember what year that was?
I'm thinking this is much later than when I went to school, but I was telling you how I got into doing things before they even had one. It was just like somebody said, well, you need a secretary now, you got one. And I mean, no question asked, other than that, you know, whether you're a member or full. That's what it was so comical. But anyway, the year that we started traveling was after I had left Savannah. And I'd been away for at least 6 years.
Where did you go?
North Carolina, Charlotte. And I came back in 52. When I came back in 52, that's when I became a member of Flipper Chapel. So I know when I started, when you asked me about going to Cleveland, my old notes was at my house. I didn't jot that down, but based on the 50s, it had to be like 60s, 70s, and up to almost the 80s, because I didn't stop traveling until my elderly parents became ill, because one of my uncles was the first one that I used to, you know, go to all of the meetings and stuff. And then he lost his wife, and he was confiding in me somewhat, so I just, you know, quit traveling.
Now, Sister Richard, you mentioned something earlier. You said that do you still have access to your notes?
I guess now, when I'm with him now for about 3 or 4 years, and you know, when you pack things up in, you know, boxes, sometimes you go back to paper. I'm glad it's not all like that, but the ink sometimes, then it disappears. You had that
Yes,
happen?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know exactly what kind of condition is it, but some of the little trinkets that I used to put on the wall and stuff, but I knew my very first conference was in Miami.
Okay.
And from Miami, that quadrennial, the next one,
General Conference.
I've never gone to general conference.
You mentioned quadrennial, so that's either General Conference or the WNS.
Well, I was, might I say, partial to the leg.
Okay.
And I knew it had to be like between the 60s and the 70s, when I was doing, you know, these biennials.
Would you do me a favor if you, in your spare time, if you can come across some of your notes from when you were active in the district or when you attend the biennials, if you would save them for me within the next 3 months, I can publish them, because I will be doing our next historiographer's journal for the 7th District Organization sometime in December, January, I believe. And I would feel honored to be able to include your notes as a part of that.
Do you know if Kate Brown is still alive?
Oh no, she died over 10 years ago.
Yeah, she was such a sweet lady. She reminded me so much of my real aunt, or grand aunt that was from Charleston. And boys, she had a brother, and I think he used to pastor a church. He was pastoring a church in Savannah. But she admitted she was a South Carolinian, but how she had made her way to Georgia, and she was vice president. My first time I met.
Well, Kay Brown's family was a singer at a lot of our Grand Lodge meetings. At this point, though, I am going to let you go because I would love for you to come back again, and I'm hoping that we could have this conversation, some more of this conversation. Even if I need to go and visit you, I would love to continue this conversation.
Well, I'm sure that would be advisable as well as fulfilling. I will do my utmost. Like I said, I know it's not the worst task, but I can't guarantee what condition that, stuff may still be in, but my house is still with a roof and whatnot. I just haven't lived there in about 2 or 3 years to call that living, so whatever was packed up, it's like,
Or
depending on the condition.
Or whenever you all come back, if you could also have some time for me, I would love to be able to do this whenever you come back again. I don't want to eat up a lot of your time, but I would really like to finish up this conversation.
Okay, I know you had some typical question I thought you wanted to ask.
Well, yeah, but it's already, we've been doing this now for a half hour. I need to let you go. I really need to let you go.
I think I messed up. I started talking too much.
No. You've given us more information than we've ever had. And so what we're going to do with this information is that we're going to attach it to other information that I have of other persons and put it on a junk drive and put it in the church storage so that periodically we can just look at the information. If you look at these pictures on the wall, these are pictures that I took over 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the persons in these pictures are not here anymore. I have a video that someone did of my daughter when I was a conference president, and it brought tears to my eyes to see that video. My daughter's no longer here. She was real young when the video was there, and I never thought that I would ever see her movement again, but yet I got to see that. So this becomes a part of the keepsake for here at Whitehall. So again, thank you for allowing us to conduct this interview.
Okay.